Books have been revered as magical objects for centuries. They contain the knowledge of all mankind. And they use words to give structure to the world's overwhelming chaos. But printed knowledge is yesterday's news. The encyclopedia has been replaced by Wikipedia. But what does that mean for us? 55 million articles in 300 languages, all written by volunteers. Anyone with a computer can add or change a text or write new articles anytime they want. But how? Wikipedia has replaced all other encyclopedia. Are we now dependent on a monopoly? Is every article credible? What is fact and what is fiction? And just who are the writers?
I respond to a network close to the ground.
Why do volunteers from around the world spend their free time editing Wikipedia?
A freely licensed encyclopedia means everyone can copy it, everyone can share it, you can do anything you want with it. It's a gift to the world.
It is an extremely visionary project that brings together very different points of view.
Feels really nice when you share your knowledge.
Wikipedia is important. Some way, somehow, some way have your voice there or being a part of the change that is happening.
With controversial topics, authors are sometimes paid by the state or by companies. And this is against the rules. Writers are supposed to be volunteers.
I mean, for me, it's a very important. It's a vision of what I would hope the world could be like.
Elvin Huaman is from Peru. He's a computer scientist at the Technical University in Innsbruck.
Una de las cosas muy interesantes que he encontrado en los últimos años.
Wikipedia is one of the most interesting things I've come across recently. It can help me save the Quechua language.
El de recuperar el quechua. Durante años he estudiado cómo.
I've spent years learning how to generate and process data in Spanish, but now it's time to do it in Quechua.
Es momento de aplicarlo en el quechua.
Huaman wants to bring more visibility to his culture, and Wikipedia seems to be just the tool. He can reach the whole world. Wikipedia is visited 20 million times a day in Germany alone. An average of 17 million new articles are posted every month globally. Former managing director of Wikimedia Deutschland, Pavel Richter, calls himself a fanboy and has written a book about the history of Wikipedia.
Warum ist Wikipedia ein Weltwunder? Naja, zum einen ist es die größte.
Why is Wikipedia one of the wonders of the world? First, because it's the largest collection of knowledge that has ever existed. That's pretty impressive, right? And second, it's about how this collection was created. Wikipedia is completely self-organized. No one person calls the shots. There are no chief editors, bosses, or predefined rules. The founder, Jimmy Wales, simply extended an invitation. Come and write an encyclopedia and figure out how to do it. That is the real wonder of Wikipedia.
Das wahre Weltwunder hinter Wikipedia.
But who is behind this wonder? It turns out that's not so easy to find out. Most of the authors behind Wikipedia don't want to give up their anonymity by having their real name connected to their username.
Anonymity is a form of protection because I don't feel 100% safe here, whether it's stalking or just getting trolled.
Journalist and voiceover artist Elke Küpping has written for Wikipedia for 10 years.
Ich finde das schon sehr beeindruckend, was für Leistungen Frauen auch im
I am amazed at the kinds of achievements women have made in motorsports, or the very long distances they have traveled, like going one time around the world, or halfway around it, or riding a motorcycle to Afghanistan alone. I find that fascinating. And when I write an article about that kind of person, I am kind of traveling with that woman, just by writing for Wikipedia.
Mit dem Motorrad mit dieser Frau.
Wikipedia says anyone can become part of its community. But how? Küpping explains.
Wir können jetzt einfach in einen beliebigen Artikel gehen, hier zum Kaiser Joseph II.
We can go into any random article, like this one on Emperor Joseph II. I happen to be a royal specialist and can say for sure that this date of death is incorrect. We just go to Edit on the menu above the name, and somewhere you'll find the Edit button. Voila, you're good to go.
Du kannst losschreiben.
Other authors can dispute how relevant the topic of a specific article is for the encyclopedia. A discussion is then held on the article's discussion page.
How do you define what is relevant for an encyclopedia? Relevance criteria in Wikipedia were established at some point, more than 10 years ago, and now they are as if written in stone.
Die stehen da jetzt wie in Stein gemeißelt.
The criteria for what is relevant was drafted by the community itself online. And the set of rules is extensive, covering almost all areas of life, from astronauts to traffic law. Thomas Metzinger is a philosopher specializing in digital media and artificial intelligence. He has also had experience compiling classical encyclopedias.
Also im klassischen Journalismus zum Beispiel oder im wissenschaftlichen Veröffentlichungswesen.
In traditional journalism or in scientific publishing, there are criteria for what is relevant. But media that is fed by a swarm is very vulnerable to popularity bias. That is, when popularity skews content.
Durch Popularität.
If relevance was determined by the number of articles, then cars, for example, would certainly be considered relevant. There are an estimated 2 million articles in 200 languages. And the numerous articles on video games are also always kept up to date. Few women become authors on Wikipedia, but the few that do are often very active and influential. In the history of Wikipedia, women who have often helped bring about major transformations to the movement and its strategy. Florence Devoir is the pioneer among these women.
Bonjour, je voudrais un café s'il vous plaît.
She co-founded the French Wikipedia and became the first executive director of the Wikimedia Foundation, founded in 2004.
When I started, no one knew about the project. Nobody. Neither my family, nor friends, neighbors, colleagues. No one knew about it. It was like a secret garden. 3 of us started it. There was nothing, no articles, no content, no rules. We had to create everything. For traditional encyclopedias, we were just a cult. We were freaks trying something bizarre that couldn't be done. It was ridiculous to think that naive internet surfers would volunteer to create an online encyclopedia. That seemed idiotic. And then in 2004, the Wikimedia Foundation was founded. The organization represents Wikipedia, and I decided to run for executive director. I had the great privilege of being elected. That was really mind-blowing, because I was suddenly on the board of an American foundation, which was an amazing, essentially English-speaking community. I then led a rather complicated life, because I had a full-time job in France. I flew to New York or Tampa on days off for 3 days.
Debuach took her first steps into the English and French language communities of Wikipedia 20 years ago, a place where Huaman is today. An estimated 10 million people speak his native Quechua in 7 South American countries.
He's like a puppy.
Yes.
You can pet him. He's very sensitive. Treat him well, and he's happy.
Vector, find the box. Good, you find it. Wow, you wanna play. Mi idea es, por una parte, crear un bot que pueda generar.
I want to first program a bot that will write Quechua Wikipedia. And I want to motivate the Quechua community to participate.
Como quechuas dentro de la Wikipedia.
It's a very similar situation with the Cebuano community. It's a language of the same size, also 20 million speakers, and not an official language in the country, Philippines. The Cebuano is my wife's native language.
That's great. The love makes wonderful things. It's really inspiring me that what you did with Wikipedia Cebuano, so I'm really, really interested in that.
A bot to make a basic set of articles that people can use as a model and that people can extend. That will lower the technical threshold for beginners.
I tried to catch up with the code that you wrote, and it's really, really extensive, and it's... I cannot imagine. I just count the lines.
Yeah, it was quite a lot of work, but modifying the program to run a new language is not so difficult.
Oh, that's great. Great to hear that. Thank you for your time.
Sverker Johansson is a physicist and linguist. He has made Cebuano Wikipedia the second largest in the world, with more than 5.5 million articles, all written by his bot.
A bot is a piece of software, a computer program, that is accessing the internet on its own and doing whatever it's supposed to do. And a bot on Wikipedia is a bot that will read and especially change Wikipedia on its own. Fixing small things, fixing spelling errors sometimes, connecting articles in different languages, or even writing new articles, which is what my bot is doing. And I have probably written more Wikipedia articles than anybody else, about 10 million of them, in Swedish and in Cebuano and Waray-Waray, 2 Filipino languages. I looked at the Wikipedia in Cebuano and it was sparse, not much information there. So I figured here I can really do something useful.
Donc Wikipédia, ça a été créé en 2001 ça a été fondé en 2001 par Jimmy Wales. Donc Wikipédia, contrairement aux autres encyclopédies, est un projet libre. C'est-à-dire tout le monde peut contribuer, tout le monde peut l'utiliser.
Minette Lonsi is a journalist and entrepreneur.
C'est vrai qu'il y a le board of, on va dire le board, c'est-à-dire le comité de direction. Il y a des employés.
She's an advocate for free knowledge and leads various Wikimedia projects in Cameroon.
Je suis vraiment au quotidien aidant mes
The work is voluntary. I fight for women's rights every day. Women only make the news or the front page when they have personal problems. All we see are women getting divorced or going to bed with someone. They receive much less recognition than men.
Elles sont beaucoup moins mises en valeur que les hommes.
Luntzi and her colleagues write biographies about African women who have made significant contributions.
Ça permet d'inspirer d'autres jeunes filles. Ça permet de.
It helps to inspire young girls as well. It allows us to highlight women's knowledge and expertise. I couldn't do it on my own. I can write 1 or 2 articles a day, but if I educate other women, I know they will keep giving visibility to African women and African issues with the encyclopedia.
À des femmes africaines ou à des sujets africains sur l'encyclopédie.
Luntzi and her colleagues encounter little resistance on their articles. That's quite different with European or North American articles that are written by large numbers of male and female writers.
Ja, wenn du dich in Wikipedia beteiligen möchtest, dann brauchst du
If you want to participate in Wikipedia, you have to have a thick skin. A very, very thick skin to withstand attacks and even insults. And I think you also need a good community to support you, where you can go and say, they were being rude to me, and you will be comforted.
zu mir und dann kann ich so ein bisschen trösten. Alors, c'est dur à dire, mais Wikipédia, c'est pas
Wikipedia is not a gathering of stuffed animals. It is a ruthless environment. You meet people who are from somewhere else, who think differently, have a different religion, and different political views. And that's what makes us so strong. That's diversity. But it's also precisely this diversity that makes it so complicated. There are power struggles and criticism. There are a lot of difficult moments if you want to be part of the Wikipedia community, because you will come into serious conflict with others.
Wikipédia, c'est vraiment des moments où on va se confronter avec les autres.
Georg Hilt goes by a different name in real life. We only know his username. He has a PhD in chemistry and is an administrator and member of the German Wikipedia Arbitration Board. He is among the most influential Wikipedians. He observed up close the editing war over the article on glyphosate, a pesticide produced by Monsanto.
There were many contributing authors for glyphosate, 2 of whom stood out. One person was pro-industry, and the other very pro-environment. One was a newly created account, but knew their way around Wikipedia. So there was a suspicion that they created the account just to edit this article.
Neonico, would you please confirm that you are not paid to write and are not professionally involved in the manufacture, distribution, monitoring, or testing of products with glyphosate? I'm not a paid writer and not a G lobbyist. P.S. Even paid writers and lobbyists can contribute good articles, and unpaid writers and non-lobbyists can spout nonsense. Please, stick to the point.
Im Artikel Glyphosat gab es von beiden Autoren mit Extrempositionen. Both authors with extreme positions in the glyphosate article made unacceptable edits. They were changed. The pro-industry author inserted an article without mentioning that it was financed by Monsanto.
Dass eine Studie von Monsanto in den Artikel, also von Monsanto finanzierte wissenschaftliche Studie, in den Artikel eingefügt wurde, ohne zu erwähnen, dass sie von Monsanto finanziert wurde. Die andere Seite hat die Studie entfernt.
The other author removed the study because it was not a neutral study. But the other author just re-added it, and it was removed again. The study was allowed into the article with a note that it was funded by Monsanto.
Auf der anderen Seite wurde dann dramatisiert.
Then there was some exaggeration because glyphosate affects the intestinal flora of bees. This was then interpreted as making bees become disoriented and then dying. But that was not in the source.
Was aber nicht in der Quelle stand. Der Benutzer mit der industrienahen
The
Position
pro-industry user was blocked over suspicions of being paid, and also because of lacking impartiality.
Dann hat eine Berufung eingelegt, die bei uns Sperrprüfung heißt.
He, of course, filed an appeal. This is called a blocking review.
Dass der Verdacht nicht,
It was concluded that the suspicion couldn't be proven, and that the impartiality was not serious enough to block him permanently.
fehlende Neutralität nicht gravierend genug ist, ihn dauerhaft zu sperren. Diese Person ist
But since everyone was watching him, he then became inactive and hasn't edited for several years.
und hat seit mehreren Jahren nicht mehr editiert.
But he still made the most edits in the article.
Ja, nicht alles, was geschrieben hat, war
Not
schlecht.
everything he wrote was bad. The point is to find and remove the things that don't correspond to reality. The good things can stay.
Zu entfernen. Das, was Gutes geschrieben hat, bleibt.
Natürlich gibt es Unternehmen, die versuchen, ihre
Of course, companies are trying to insert their views into Wikipedia. It will always be a David and Goliath battle. Corporate PR departments versus volunteers. But here, we know how this David and Goliath battle ended.
Goliath am Ende ausgegangen ist.
Mein Name ist Peter Wuttke, ich bin Wikipedianer. Ich bin dort in der Wikipedia, in der deutschsprachigen meistens.
I'm Peter Wuttke, a Wikipedian. I have 2 accounts in German Wikipedia. I use Atomic Cocktail for unpaid conventional edits. And then I have a second account, Einfach machen Hamburg, where I am assigned to edit and I even get paid.
Wo ich einen Auftrag habe und auch ein Honorar bekomme, wenn ich sie bearbeite.
Atomic Cocktail has over 40,000 edits in the German Wikipedia, mostly on contemporary history and politics. He has influenced 22 of those significantly, and they've been recognized by the community as excellent, the highest distinction in Wikipedia. Writing even one article of this quality is considered outstanding. Peter Wuttke's clientele is international and includes companies, institutions, and individuals.
Der Kunde, der wünscht sich eine positive Darstellung.
The customer wants to be represented favorably. That's their wish, but an encyclopedia must be neutral. These are 2 very different things, and my job is to clearly understand and balance these demands. When is that okay, and when is it not? So I have to make sure to reduce things to pure facts, and to present them as soberly as possible. Sometimes I even cut entire parts, because otherwise the entire encyclopedic system would fall apart if it just became advertising.
Ich wäre ein Freund davon,
I would prefer banning paid writing, and I wish Wikipedia would make that decision. It would still happen, but the message would be clear. We don't want that. Wikipedia is written by volunteers.
Von Ehrenamtlichen geschrieben. Tatsächlich ist Wikipedia kein herrschaftsfreier
Wikipedia is not a space free of domination. Anyone who believes that is deluded. You have power in Wikipedia, for example, when you have time. All discussions and decisions have to be decided by consensus. And these discussions can take an insane amount of time.
Was kostet ein Artikel in der Wikipedia?
How much does an article cost in Wikipedia, and what factors matter when setting prices?
Also pauschal kann ich da
I can't give you an answer. It depends. That is always the answer. If it's a very small change, it can be had for a few euros. And if I know it's a very controversial topic, then it becomes expensive.
Ein Thema voller Konflikte, dann wird es teuer.
Was in Wikipedia steht,
What is written in Wikipedia is believed. And Wikipedia is potentially a danger because it's not always aware of this power.
Heute sind so bei diesem Prozess.
Today, lots of people are involved in this process of shameless self-promotion, of representing oneself in the media, and in some cases that involves smear campaigns. And so, if I were planning a smear campaign, then of course I would look at what I can do in Wikipedia.
I continuously see articles with subjective, negative reporting on people, where I can only shake my head. but I can't save them all.
Wir schreiben doch hier nur eine Enzyklopädie.
We're only writing an encyclopedia here, and what happens to it is outside of our sphere of influence. But that's too easy for Wikipedians.
I really don't have any solutions. I also don't know how it could be changed. Because the community is autonomous, self-sufficient, and very firmly committed to rules that were established years ago.
The list of lawsuits against Wikipedia is long. Because under German law, anyone who feels misrepresented can sue. But judgments are only of limited use, because authors cannot be legally compelled to reveal their identity.
Und ich fürchte, wenn Wikimedia und auch
And I fear that if Wikimedia and Wikimedia Germany do not become more active, the courts will no longer be willing to accept this enforcement problem.
dass es dieses Durchsetzungsproblem gibt.
Es gibt bestimmt Leute, die viele sachfremde Motive haben.
There are certainly people who have a lot of their own reasons for doing what their clients tell them to do, whether that is about CO2 emissions or whatever. The basic idea of a meritocracy, in which the person who has done more for the common good is the most influential, is actually very nice.
Fürs Gemeinwohl ist ja eine sehr schöne Idee eigentlich.
But what is this common good? What exactly is Wikipedia's contribution?
Wozu genau leistet die Wikipedia einen Beitrag?
Devoir has been trying to bring underrepresented people and cultures into Wikipedia, including through an elementary school project in various African countries.
The children are about 9 to 12 years old. Right now, they don't know much about computers, but that will change. The idea is to help them acquire digital skills, get them to collaborate on the internet, and empower them to tap into free culture.
The project is also managed by Minette Lunsi, who volunteers her time. She travels to 8 regions of Cameroon to supervise.
We're training teachers to use tablets and the Wikifundi tool.
This is how the children learn to use digital media. This enables them to do research for the first time and facilitates the learning process. Then, when a child does its own research, they remember how it's done.
Because the children are very young, we first have to teach them to write in the style of an encyclopedia, which doesn't come naturally. Always a challenge with young children. We want to present African history and content from our homeland and make our knowledge available worldwide.
Avoir notre contenu aussi également disponible et accessible au monde entier.
Lunsi and Devoir produce content for French Wikipedia, a language that is widely used. But what about smaller languages?
Internet resources are written in English and in a handful of other major languages. Minor languages typically, you won't find anything on the internet. And that's where young people are looking for information. So establishing a presence, it will help keeping the language alive, it will help keeping the written language alive, it will help the written language evolve. And since I'm running a bot, so of course I think that's a good way to do it.
I don't think any significant content can be generated for Wikipedia with artificial intelligence.
And some people are arguing that bot articles should be removed. And that makes me sad. And also the way some people are arguing that Well, bots have no feelings. But there are always humans behind the bots.
Bots aren't currently able to do the main work in Wikipedia, writing good articles. But for Martin Rulsch, they are indispensable. As a steward, he programs them to combat vandalism on a large scale. Martin Rulsch is a classical philologist and software programmer. For the last 15 years, he's been a passionate Wikipedian. He has done countless edits, is also an administrator for German and English Wikipedia, and has uploaded about 250,000 photos.
Für mich brach eine Welt quasi zusammen, als andere Personen wirklich.
My world was shattered when people started putting really terrible things in the articles. I couldn't understand why.
Warum? Wirklich mutwillige, böse.
It was just really deliberate, evil behavior against persons, against articles, against groups.
Beispielsweise gegen Frauen sein, sexistisches.
It might involve sexist attacks against women or involve protecting against child abuse.
Vor Kindesmissbrauch sein, dass dort schlimme Dinge hochgeladen werden und so etwas.
The worst things were uploaded. Those types of things. These are the kinds of cases that Wikimedia stewards have to deal with globally.
Da bin ich einer von eben ca. 35, die das weltweit.
And I'm one of about 35 worldwide who just try to make sure that these very extreme incidents don't reach the active members who just want to write articles or add pictures.
Die einfach nur Artikel schreiben wollen oder Bilder hinzufügen wollen, dass sie das nicht erreicht. Viele Fälle, mit denen wir als Stewards zu tun haben.
A lot of the cases that we have to deal with involve victims.
Und deswegen müssen wir bei so schwierigen Fällen wie.
So we have to be very opaque with difficult cases, like torture, child pornography, and so on, to protect people.
Personen zu schützen.
What exactly do you mean, torture?
I can't talk about it.
Can you give me a hint?
Das sind halt autoritäre Staaten.
Basically authoritarian states. Wikipedia doesn't only work in democracies. Wikipedia exists in all language versions.
Mein iranischer Kollege kriegt alle.
My Iranian colleague gets a visit from the police every couple months and is told, someone wrote some nonsense, and he has access to sensitive data, such as login data, so they can get that information, for example.
Darüber Informationen zu bekommen.
Elbin Huaman has traveled to Ñuñoa, his hometown in the Peruvian Andes at an altitude of 4,100 meters. He wants to inspire the Quechua community to use Wikipedia and his bot.
Today we have a special guest. Good morning, Elwin. Could you explain Quechua Wikipedia?
What exactly is Wikipedia? Wikipedia is a giant book. And where is it? On the internet. You all already use Facebook, WhatsApp, TikTok, and you know how these things work. You take pictures and write texts. Wikipedia is the same, but it's not a corporation. It belongs to everyone. And I would like to invite everyone. If you want to know more, we'll be meeting this afternoon. All of us together can make a change. It's up to us. If we want to save our Quechua, we have to speak it and write it. I'm ready to help. I've programmed a bot called the Inti bot. It writes 1 million articles in a few hours. But as a group, we have to write and update articles ourselves. So us, the Quechua, also have to gather information.
De verdad, esto es el comienzo de algo grande.
This is the beginning of something big. Like Tupac Amaru said, we will return, and we will be millions. And so it will be. We Quechua will return, and we will be millions. This is only the beginning. Thank you.
Gracias. Gracias.
Although there are 50 million articles in Wikipedia across 300 languages, it's quite concentrated in the European languages, including English, Chinese, Japanese. There's a few other big languages. But we're still lagging very far behind in a lot of the languages of Africa, India. They're growing, but they're smaller versions of Wikipedia. A lot of the smaller languages around the world need a lot more work. It isn't the same as we came online for the first time in the late 1990s and in the 2000s. People are largely coming online on mobile devices. That is, the huge first wave of the internet in the developing world. And the truth is, contributing to Wikipedia, editing Wikipedia on a mobile device is always going to be harder.
Ein Problem ist, dass dieser
One problem is that this realm of public knowledge is in danger of becoming a winner-takes-all network, where Wikipedia becomes the only access point for 8 billion people. But those who create that content are way less than 1% of humanity.
Huaman is fighting to make Quechua culture visible on the internet. However, the world has long been dominated by big companies like Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, also known as GAFA. These companies transform the raw material of data into money.
Quelles sont les relations qui existent entre Wikipédia et les GAFA?
What is Wikipedia's relationship with GAFA? Around 2005 or 2006, they made us offers. They wanted to buy us or finance us. They wanted a business relationship. We had to explain to them that that was not our goal. Our goal was, and still is, free knowledge for everyone. So we didn't want funding from big companies. We aren't like them, and they can't buy us.
Et donc on a pu entamer une deuxième relation.
Another relationship emerged. To understand that, you have to know that these companies profit enormously from our content. This has led to some difficult questions for us. Is it okay for the big companies that make a lot of money to use our data and make a real business based on our voluntary work?
Wir schaffen freies Wissen und frei ist
We are creating free knowledge. And free doesn't only mean free as in free beer, that you don't have to pay for it, but also free as in freedom. That means that everyone can do what they want with this knowledge. And that also includes commercial use.
Natürlich auch die kommerzielle Nutzung mit ein.
At some point, we got a little annoyed that big companies were making a lot of money off us. And we contacted them. We talked to them. We openly told them a little handout wouldn't be bad. And they understood and took our request seriously. We regularly receive substantial donations from large companies, or more precisely from the foundations that belong to them. These are donations that have no strings attached. We can do whatever we want.
According to the Süddeutsche Zeitung, Google donated $3.1 million to the Wikimedia Foundation in 2019. Amazon, $1 million. These sums seem rather small in comparison with the billions in revenue that have been generated with the data from the wiki projects.
Wenn man jetzt dieses Konglomerat aus Wikipedia und den
When you now look at this conglomerate of Wikipedia and the 5 big American tech corporations, it's a threat to our political sovereignty, quite simply because power is being concentrated at various levels, not just financially, but also in attention economy, and now increasingly in the automated generation of knowledge.
von Wissen selbst.
All that remains of the dream of a free internet is Wikipedia. Only about 100,000 people write for around 4 billion internet users worldwide. The number of authors is shrinking. Pressure from interest groups is growing. Can Wikipedia's goal of knowledge by everyone, for everyone, still be achieved?
In this moment of the rise of anger, hatred, nationalism, fear of the other, Wikipedia is the one place where you say, no, like actually we're all human beings on this planet and we are fundamentally all similar.
If we've been around for 20 years, we can make it to 30 or 40.
Wikipedia is in danger because Wikipedia lacks young talent.
The danger lies in the fact that people who read the articles increasingly say the information is outdated. Wikipedia isn't what it used to be.
Dann verschwindet Wikipedia auch ganz schnell aus.
Then Wikipedia will disappear very quickly from the top Google results and will then perhaps be replaced by some corporate service, financed with advertising, not supported by a community with its own interests, and then always with the danger of influence or censorship.